going on, everyone? So one of the big acquisitions that the Lakers did this past trade deadline was acquire D'Angelo Russell. And he immediately made an impact during the course of the regular season. He was 42% from three, 50% from the field. He had his best shooting season with the Lakers. And there's a lot of expectation for that to continue. Him being the point guard, he's very likely going to start as the point guard. His ability to play off of Austin Reeves, play off the ball with LeBron James is extremely valuable. He was great off the ball for the Lakers. I know a lot of people kind of blame him for the Denver loss. It wasn't just on him. We don't even get to Denver if it wasn't for D'Angelo Russell. Was he good by any stretch of the imagination? Absolutely not. He was terrible. But like outside of Austin Reeves and the sweep game where LeBron James just tried to win us a game, nobody really showed up that series, right? And we were still in every single one of those games. We didn't just lose that game because of D'Angelo Russell or lost that series because of D'Angelo Russell. But regardless, this was a roster that was put together. It was thrown together and they played like 8 games fully healthy leading into the playoffs. And they were able to get into the Western Conference Finals. That was an achievement in and of itself. And now you're going to have a full offseason, full training camp, full preseason, going to be ready to go. That's going to allow D'Angelo Russell to kind of fit in and kind of get a better understanding, right? There was numerous occasions, like almost every game, where like D'Lo would go and make a pass and it would lead to a turnover. And it wasn't just a bad pass or anything like that. It was a lack of communication. Because again, he's the point guard, which as the point guard, your duty is to know where do guys like the ball? Where are guys supposed to be? What is, where does this guy end up, sprinting out? Like, how does this operate? And D'Angelo Russell was never really able to have the time to develop that chemistry with the players on the court. So, and you saw it wasn't just D'Lo. There was several occurrences, even LeBron, because again, you're throwing an entirely new roster together and having them try to figure it out. And for the most part, they did. They did a really good job. And D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis, that pick and roll was one of the most efficient plays in all of basketball last year. And I imagine that to continue this upcoming season. And he was one of the few people that actually tried to get Anthony Davis the ball. So again, I think he has a lot of value. The Lakers were able to convince him to waive his no trade clause. So that's obviously, of course, sparked a lot of just like, hey, he's probably getting traded. I don't necessarily think he will get traded. I don't think it's a lock that he gets traded, but I do think it's kind of like if something comes along that makes sense, then we'll move off of him. But more likely than not, my guess is he ends up staying with the Lakers throughout the season, especially if he's really good. And I think more than anything, he's going to be extremely valuable over the course of the regular season, right? We'll see if he can kind of erase his demons come playoff time. But D'Angelo Russell was on the Pat Bev podcast, and he recently kind of filled in his mindset and his thoughts when going into this upcoming season now that he'll have a full season under his belt and had that midseason trade. And one of the things that D'Angelo Russell wants is he wants to focus on bringing fun back to the Lakers after that midseason trade. And this is something that he's kind of reiterated before, but he went into more detail. And here it is. So he said, honestly, it was fun, man, because of the buzz around the team. The Lakers was being talked about, you know what I mean? It was kind of like everybody was laughing at the Lakers because we were losing at the time. So for me, it was kind of like, let's bring this new energy. And we came with some guys I already knew that we were happy-go-lucky guys. Teams need those energy guys. Not energy on the court, but energy like in the locker room. Make guys laugh, you need that offset, right? With Vandos and Bees, we came with that energy that we just wanted to make everybody smile again. Let's make this fun again. I don't know what it was before we left, before we got there. Not fun, ? Y'all were getting your kicked. It was fun. It was fun, though. Getting there and bringing that new energy. We started winning and looked up. We had a chance to make a run. We had a successful little run. Then we had a chance to make it to the playoffs and go further. We did that. You look up and we're in the Western Conference Finals, and it's like, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. But obviously we lost to the champions. It is hard to show up and win it all like that in this league. So I was more than happy with our success. And again, this is what D'Angelo Russell said. And look, I understand his sentiment. I understand the idea, right? Like the Lakers, he's right. Like the Lakers in many regards was a laughingstock. No one thought they were going to make the playoffs. No one thought they were going to do anything. The energy was just not great around the Lakers. I mean, even Pat Bev talked about it, how like the locker room was a mess and it was not good, right? And then you have this whole new group come in and step in, and they brought new energy. They brought new life. It was fun again, right? Like that roster, that team, D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, LeBron, AD, Rui, like that was fun. It was a lot of fun to see these guys play. And the Lakers were able to bring back and keep the entire core and add some really quality pieces. And I really think that this Lakers roster is going to be one of, if not the best teams in the entire league. I think they're going to be number one defense. They were number one defense last year after the trade, and they have more size now than they did last year, and you're going to have a full season under your belt. Obviously, it depends on how healthy Anthony Davis is over the course of the season, guys like Jared Vanderbilt, stuff like that. But now you got guys like, Taurean Prince, and you got Jackson Hayes, who's one of the better pick-and-roll defensive bigs in the entire league, right? Like, you got a lot of good versatility out on the perimeter defensively. So I do imagine the Lakers will be, number one in defense, or at least top 3 to top 5. And I think that they'll be top 5, maybe even number 1 in offense, right? This is a team that was 7th in offense last year. And now this year, you're going to have all of these guys, including Austin Reeves' emergence, for an entire season. They averaged 116 points per game last year. Sacramento led the league with 120 and some change. I don't think it's far-fetched for the Lakers to average 120 points per game, which would put them number 1 in offense. And if they're number 1 in defense, or even top 5, then there you go. I really think that they're going to be top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. I really do, or pretty close, right? Like, and to put that in perspective, the only team in the league last year that was top 5 in offense and defense was the Boston Celtics. And so, again, I don't think that that's far-fetched to think. Right? Again, they were number 1 in defense post-trade. And now you're going to have a full season with that roster. And then on top of that, you added a bunch of great quality defensive perimeter guys and size out on the perimeter. And they were 7th in offense last year. To think that they can't jump 2 spots with this current roster, I just don't buy it, especially when there aren't many teams that improved that drastically. So I really do think that the Lakers are going to be up there in both stats, which would make them one of, if not the best teams in the entire league. And I do think D'Lo is going to play a huge part for the Lakers this season. I really do. And we'll see what the end result is, right? As far as D'Lo goes, do they end up finding that trade that makes sense for them and they end up, going and getting that guy? Possibly. You never know, right? But again, I do think it's more likely that he ends up staying. And I still believe that if your goal is to really make Austin Reeves kind of like the primary ball handler, kind of make him the playmaker, I really think that you should make D'Lo a scorer. Like, because he is a legit 3-level scorer. And look, I get he's always kind of been a scorer, right? The guy, you talk about consistency, the guy has been 17 points a game pretty much his entire career. But if he doesn't have to worry so much about the playmaking, because he's always played the point guard, right? He's always had to go get his 17, but also go get 5 to 8 assists per game. If that's not really a focus, and it's play make for others, get some passes done. D'Lo even relayed in that interview that, he really enjoys passing. He really enjoys making that highlight play, which I love about him. But if you really are going to make Austin Reeves the primary playmaker, the primary guy, I think it makes a lot of sense to just kind of make D'Lo the shooting guard and let him just be buckets, right? I mean, especially if he could shoot as efficient and effectively as he did last year, why wouldn't you want to just have him be absolute bucket, right? Like, go out there and look, just, if you can make the play, if the guy's open, absolutely go do that, but just go get a bucket. I really think that might be the best approach, but anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What do you think the Lakers will kind of get back to that fun, bring back that energy, bring back that excitement that we've seen with past Laker teams? I think of the bubble team, right? Think of how fun they were, how much they played for each other, how much excitement there was. You know, they were goofy. They were doing all these like dances and stuff. Like, it was just a different vibe, right? Like, I actually agree with D'Lo when he says, like, you know, I want to bring back the fun. I like that. I like that idea. Like, because that's kind of what it was. It was just like, you know, and like, look, like, you know, Russell Westbrook, like in the locker room where it's like, you know, just go out there and have fun. But there's big differences, right? Like, it's just, it was a mess. It was a disaster. Like, I think this team's going to be good. When you're good, that kind of lightens the mood in and of itself. You kind of joke a little bit. Like, I think it's going to be a different vibe. I genuinely do. I think it's going to be a different vibe. I think it's going to be good. But is that something you're okay with? What do you think? How do you think D'Lo has his impact this year for the Lakers? Do you think that they end up trading him at some point? You know, again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments.